Oh, hi everybody. Welcome. Oh my gosh. My light just fell. Oh well. I'll just leave it. Leave it where it's supposed to be. Welcome everybody. I've started doing this live. It's actually the first day I'm doing it because I was recording the videos and for some reason there'd be problems with the sound. I'd accidentally delete them and so forth. So I just decided, you know what? Let me just do a live. I'm gonna do an additional live every week where I teach people how to read tarot, teach you all how to read tarot. So it is available for everyone to watch, but I have disabled comments. And I've disabled comments because I have a membership tier that I interact with you all. If you want to learn to read tarot, it's $9.99 a month, and I answer questions there. We have interactions. I'm going to start doing a Zoom and so forth and so forth. So it's actually going to be like me tarot coaching you. I've been reading tarot for almost 20 years. I can't believe it. Next year will be 20 years. And I love to tell people this story. When I first started reading tarot, I was 15. 15 or no, I was 17, excuse me. So in 3 years, it will be 20 years. And I was 17, and I my mother went to the market and she found a tarot deck, and she bought it for me because I'm so into this kind of stuff. And when I was a kid, I used to have dreams that came true, stuff like that. And I've always been into esoteric. It's just my jam, crystals, stuff like that. So she bought it for me. She brought it home, and I started reading tarot. I fell off a bit, and then I, throughout the years, have secretly bought tarot and kept my tarot deck. And only in the last, well, 5, 6 years did I start reading professionally. Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you guys that story while I get my deck ready. So if you are interested in reading tarot, I highly recommend watching this. I released one for the public for all of you to view, I'd say 2 weeks ago, and it was talking about major arcanas. The major arcanas are the 22 cards. I also recently did the cups, I believe. No. Oh my gosh. Anyways, today I'm doing cups. I'm doing wands. So I can't remember which one I did before. But I'm doing cups and wands for you all because I need to do this. First, I want to start with wands. And I'm going to show you the deck that I'm using. I'm using this modern tarot deck. Actually, today I'm going to use two different tarot decks. I want to show you the difference. And let's see here. I'm just getting them in the right order. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm seeing 8 and ace. Okay, here's no. Anyways, so I would love to hear if you have any questions. If you want to become a member, you can ask me. You can ask all the questions you want, and so forth and so forth. I'm really excited to do this. I feel like a lot of the videos that I've seen about reading tarot seem kind of robotic, and I don't want to be robotic. I want to be natural, and I also want to read from a place of experience because I've had a lot of experience. I have a lot of clientele at the moment that I don't necessarily want to talk about, but I'm going to use some of them without names as examples. Okay, so let's get started. Yeah, so learn tarot with me. I'm going to start with the wands actually. Then we'll do cups. So this week we're doing wands. And then I'll just talk about different scenarios where I've used the wands. Okay, so welcome everybody. Please like the video on the way in. I have disabled comments for a reason. So if you have any questions, please, any questions pertaining to tarot, sign up for the membership. This is the way that we can build a community for this. Not just, I think it is beneficial as an energetic exchange. But I also believe if you really want to learn tarot, it's important to put something forward into it. You know, I'm currently learning something. I'm in school for something. And, you know, when you put your energy, time, and financial investment into something, you value it more, you know? And Vice versa, the person that has been paid to do it for you values it more. So that's why I have that specific membership. I also do coaching, one-on-one coaching, that's available in my membership. Okay, I'm cooking some food right now, and my kitchen is right behind me. Okay, so we're gonna start with wands. So if you're unfamiliar with tarot, there's 22 major arcanas. The Emperor, Empress, Fool, so forth and so forth. There are also 4 different elements. So there's wands, cups, pentacles, and swords. So actually, I did cups last week. I'm just going to do wands, like I said, this week. And I'm going to just talk about different experiences. So wands are the element of fire. And they are related to Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. So if you think about fire, it's action oriented. A lot of these suns, or if you know somebody that's predominant in fire signs, sun, sun, moon, whatever, Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries, they probably tend to be action oriented people. And that's what wands are. Wands are about action. So with ace is the first one. And wands, ace of wands, often associated with like the first step of action you're going to take. It's not necessarily the first step of action you are taking, but you're going to take. So you see, there's a wand, that's the beginning. So oftentimes when I see ace of wands, and I get like, because I do every morning, I read my own tarot, and I read about this. I read um, what is happening energetically within me, and I ask the angels every time I start reading on anybody. I ask the angels to protect me, to protect the person I'm doing reading on, and to guide me. It's very important to have that heavenly protection. So when I do that, I pull the cards, and for example, if I got ace of wands, I would assume, or energetically, it gives me the idea that this is at the beginning of a journey. It's not necessarily the Fool, which could be similar, but this is the beginning of a journey that requires action. So it could be like the person starting to train, the person has started a project, it requires action. So Two of Wands is the next process in that. And that's when you're often thinking about, okay, what steps do you need to take? You see how she has a phone in her hand, and I forgot to mention this, but the Modern Witch Tarot, this one, is a version of the tarot deck, which is the traditional one that was released in 1770 something in France. And I forgot who did it. The traditional one. I don't own the traditional one. I used to. That's the tarot deck I got when I was a teenager. I don't have it anymore because I think it's outdated and boring to me. I mean, if you want to watch it, if you want to use it, feel free to use it. It's just not for me. Yeah, but I just think it's outdated and just I like the modern twist. I'm an Aquarius. I like the modern things. I like the modern twist. I like the diversity. I like the colors. That's why I prefer this one. So Two of Wands, she has a cell phone in her hand. She's starting to take the measures to see what she can do to make what she's about to do happen. Sometimes Two of Wands, for example, in the Light Years Tarot, which is this tarot deck, you'll often see a lot of tarot users, tarot deck readers use it. Is Two of Wands can be like a journey, the beginning of a journey, which I suppose can also be that too. So whenever I get this card when I'm doing a reading, I often think this person might be planning a trip or something that has to do with destination, taking the distance. If it's related to love, this person might have to travel to see the person that they're in a relationship with. Just putting that out there. Not always, but sometimes. Okay, so Three of Wands. This is an extension. They all go as extensions. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the third, you can see here where there's no longer a phone, but now it's about taking the action. So now it's about implementing what the steps were before into action. Now it's about actually doing it. And when I get Three of Wands, I often think about, you see there's a boat. I don't know if you can see. There's like a little yacht she's looking at. It's about, okay, how can I make this happen strategically? I thought about it, I planned it. Now I'm doing it. Four of Wands is the marriage card. Whenever this comes up, it's not necessarily marriage, but it's about solidifying a relationship. And I have a funny story about this actually. So, when I moved to Los Angeles, I lived in this house where a lot of us were staying. In the interim, I wouldn't say a lot of us, but it was just um, renting out a room in a house while I found an apartment. So one of my neighbors in that house was a tarot reader, and I didn't really tell a lot of people that I read tarot at the time, but he was reading my tarot, and I didn't know anything about him. I didn't really know him, but he pulled my four of wands. He pulled four of wands for me, and he said somebody wants to marry you. So that's usually an indication of either somebody wants to marry you, solidify a relationship with you. Turns out it was right, obviously. Not obviously like somebody would want to marry, but obviously because it's tarot, and I strongly believe in tarot. But I whenever I get this card, it's about solidifying a union. Not necessarily marriage, but something long distance, long term, something that is a partnership. Okay, five wands. So usually when I get this card, I was saying this in my deleted video. When I get this card, because I used to do a lot of readings on actors and actresses, I used to get this card a lot. And sometimes it can be a reminder of how we can use healthy competition to help us become the better version of ourselves. Or it can make us, it can be read the energy that we feel like we need to compete for something, you know? So I always encourage, whenever I get five wands, I always encourage the person I'm doing reading on, or if I get it on myself, I encourage myself to use healthy competition. We're not the same as people, but it doesn't mean that we have to be at odds with one another for our differences, but we can learn from each other because of our differences. That makes any sense? Okay, so Six of Wands is the next one, and this is about oftentimes when you're in the middle of a journey and going about things yourself. Six of Wands is about the self, journey of self. Sometimes it pertains to healing, but sometimes it pertains to releasing and moving forward from a situation that was not very helpful. Six of Swords can be like that too, which next week we're going to cover swords. Six of Swords can be like that too, but Six of Wands is about taking action to make sure that you are okay. Seven of Wands is often a very defiant card. You see her energy is very defiant. She's like, and this is about, I would say, taking action to stand firm in something, whether it's what you believe in, whether it's what you want to achieve, but it's often the part of the journey, because everything has some kind of journey. It's a part of the journey where you feel like giving up and you have to decide to move forward. So whenever I get this card on someone, I think, okay, what have they just been through? And do they feel isolated? If they do, it's about coming back to the reason why they started it in the first place. You know, because we need that reminder. Eight of Wands is when we feel, a lot of the time, when we feel as though you see all these wands in the same direction, and this motorcycle, person on the motorcycle moving away from the wands. Eight of Wands is about the action that we need to take, similar to Seven of Wands. But when I get Eight of Wands, I often assume that there's a fast action happening, and it's almost like the heavens are behind that action. It's like an inspired action where you're like, I'm gonna make it happen, you know? And it happens very abruptly, and it happens almost like, you know, when you have that idea that something happens, and you have this like, something happens and you're like, or something pops into your head, and you're like, I have to do this today. I'm not doing it tomorrow, I have to do it today. That's Eight of Wands energy. I have to do it today. I have to do it now before it's too late. Wands energy in general, because it's fire driven, can be like that, but especially Eight of Wands. Nine of Wands is about taking inventory and looking at, it's often journaling, it's that part of the journey in your life where you feel like, okay, I'm not doing so well. You see how this person's in the middle looking back and being like, is there something I'm not seeing? I need to focus on something. What is it that I need to focus on? What is it that I need to take inventory of? It's that part of the journey that you have to really question if you're headed in the right direction or if you need to move in another direction. 10 of Wands, but it's really about self accountability. Excuse me. 10 of Wands is about the last action that you need to take before a major breakthrough. And it can often feel like the end. When I get 10 of Wands, I recently got 10 of Wands about something. And it was because I was feeling like giving up on something. But 10 of Wands is a reminder, don't give up. This is the last of any major action you will have to take before a breakthrough. And oftentimes it ends up working out in your favor if you push forward and if you don't give up. Knight of Wands is, you can see a horse. So oftentimes it's in the form of a person. And whenever I get this card when I do readings, I often associate it with somebody that's very much a smooth talker, can say the right thing, but doesn't really follow through. Like Knight of Wands is that. Knight of Wands like shows up and is like, I'm this, I'm that. Actually, in the Light Seers Tarot, Knight of Wands comes with roses. So somebody that's a smooth talker, they're able to show you like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm charming. But sometimes they're not really great at delivering what they're selling. Page of Wands is also usually in the form of a person. It could be the person you're doing a reading on, but it's energetically a person. And oftentimes, Page of Wands' person brings in something new. They could bring in a new action that requires you to respond in a specific way. Queen of Wands is also the form of a person. Doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, but it could be just the feminine version. And sometimes we can intermix between the two. Sometimes we're in our queen energy, sometimes we're in our king energy. The two can interchange for the same person, just to let you know that. I do want to say this too. When I get Queen of Wands and King of Wands and it's a love reading, it usually means soul relationship, like a soulmate relationship that's been going on for a very long time, lifetimes and lifetimes. And with Queen of Wands, I get very strongly, usually when I'm doing a reading on someone who has mastered the art of knowing when to take action and when to step aside. And I think that's really the big lesson that fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, need to learn about themselves, is when to act and when not to act, and when to be impulsive, when not to be impulsive. There's times when, for example, if there's a fire in your house, you need to be impulsive, but you can't treat everything like there's a fire in your house. And that's the real struggle of fire signs. So this feminine energy has mastered the art of when to move forward and when not to do anything. Last but not least is the King of Wands. Now this is the masculine version of this, and this masculine version is the masculine version, yes, of the Queen of Wands, but is also the head of the throne and has learned when to move and when not to move, and when to take direction, when not to take direction, but has also mastered within them the ability to not be angered by everything, which is also something that Aries, Leo, Sagittarius need to work on as a whole. They can be ignited easily. So this king is not ignited easily, but when he is ignited, he moves with purpose. So that's what I have for you all. If you have any questions, I'm about to post something in the membership, exclusive for the membership. I will be taking questions over there. I'm going to not reply to any comments here, but if you want to ask me any questions or anything, so forth, so forth, they will be over there where I can give you one-on-one answers, because I can't reply to all the questions here, but I will in the membership. So I'm going to post something up now. I'm going to be doing this every week. So if you just want to learn tarot for free, I totally get it. That's totally fine too. But if you want more expansive knowledge, check it out. It's in my membership tab. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I have 2 new videos coming out tomorrow for the other members. Yeah, so check that out.